we'll make it to the end. Watch it fall away behind, make it through this fight. Keep our eyes to the sky, we'll cross this broken bridge tonight. Make it to the end, hold tight.
So hello, yeah, I've unmuted myself. So can you all hear me now? So I'll just play some bass as well. Okay, so you probably didn't hear what I said before because I was muted, but welcome everyone. So yeah, I'm going to basically introduce future sessions with Tom's comment, which is good morning, good afternoon and good evening. So yeah, if you could let me know if you can hear me. Sorry about that, no sound. So yeah, now we can hear you. That's great. So there's a bit of a delay in the chat. So there's normally kind of a minute delay. So just bear that in mind. But yeah, you can hear me now. Sorry about that. I'm going to go back. So the session is what you really need for a strong foundation in bass playing. That's a really important topic. I think I recognise all the names in there, but I'm Greg Hagger if you don't know who I am. Right, so the format of the session, part one, I'm going to discuss the foundations of bass playing. I'm going to show you a musical example. Part two, I'm going to unbox the brand new GBS Bass course, which is 0 to Hero. And then I'm going to just let you ask any comments, any questions and you've got about the course or the session in the comments. So yeah, we should be all fine now. Okay, yeah, nice to see you all from around the world. Yeah, lots of Americans here, Europe, someone from Wales, which is great. So yeah, thanks for coming along. I'm going to launch straight into the session now. So part one, the foundations of bass playing. So these are the main areas that I think everyone should be working on with a bass playing. The first one is technique. Okay, so technique includes how to pluck, how to fret, your hand shape. This is probably the first area that you kind of look at when you pick up a bass. You just wonder how to pluck the thing, how to get a good sound out of it. But there's other areas as well of technique like articulation, which is really important. I tried to stress that in lots of my lessons, my YouTube lessons. That's how you strike the note, how long or short you play the note. And if you listen to your favourite bass players, you'll notice that they've each got a unique way of articulating. So that's something that I really kind of stressed that you should think about when you're playing, okay? And also technique is fingerstyle, picking, using a plectrum, slapping, playing muted notes, hammer-ons, pull-offs, that type of thing, okay? So technique's quite important, obviously, to get your sound. Second foundational aspect is fretboard knowledge. That's just really where the notes are on your fretboard. we start first of all generally down the first kind of 5 frets and then work up. Most people kind of fret 7 to 12. They're not sure what the notes are in this area. And then you've got to work above the 12th fret. So there's kind of 3 sort of kind of divisions of the fretboard really. So fretboard knowledge again is important. General musicianship. This is an area that maybe some people just don't focus on. So ear training. If you want to transcribe a bass line, if you want to just learn a bass line, you want to work out what key it's in, you need some listening skills. And then harmony, you need to know what the chord progressions are, keys of pieces, that kind of thing. And then theory, which kind of covers all of this really. Reading, notation, rhythm, just how music works. So that includes really scales and arpeggios, which are really important for getting these shapes, for playing riffs, bass lines, that kind of thing. So general musicianship is a big area. Everyone looks at this on any instrument, okay? How to create bass lines and improvise. So if you're given a chord progression, you're reading from a chord chart, or you're just making up your own bass line, then you're improvising. Some people kind of just associate improvising with playing solo. That is improvising, but if you're making up your own bass line, you're improvising. So first of all, generally people will just learn other bass lines and they might never kind of create their own bass line, but you want to take it that step further. If you're doing an originals band, or if someone wants you to record on their track, they might just give you a chord chart, or they might just play it to you. So you've got to try and come up with something yourself. Okay, so that's when you start to create your own bass lines. How to practice, that's another really important aspect of or a real foundational thing you need to focus on. There's no point just doing the same thing over and over again. You need to have a focused practice session. You need to know what to practice. That's a question that's often asked to me. You know, what do I practice? How do you get the most bang for buck with your practice sessions? And gear knowledge as well. Now, there is a focus a lot on gear. If you look at social media, there's a lot of companies trying to sell you their instruments. So it's quite a fun area. You can go into a music shop, look at some basses and some amps. I've always loved doing that. I mean, it's it's quite a cool thing to do. But it is important to be able to set your bass up correctly and your amp up correctly. A lot of people don't turn the gain up, for example. They're not driving the amp properly. These things are really important alongside all the other foundational aspects. So just having a basic understanding of your gear. You don't want to turn up to a gig and plug in, nothing's coming out, you don't know how to fix it. So gear knowledge is important. So I've kind of split it up a bit. General bass playing is the first 4 points: technique, fretboard knowledge, general musicianship, and how to create bass lines and improvise. That's what I'll be focusing a bit more in this session. And you've got how to practice and gear knowledge. They're kind of separate issues. So I'm going to do a workshop in January of how to practice. It's going to be a sort of couple of hours session. I'm going to give you advice of how to split up your practice sessions, what to focus on, how to keep a logbook, that kind of thing, and get the most out of your practice session. So I'm not going to really look at that aspect today, okay? But I'll give you a heads up about that in the new year. Gear knowledge. You can go into a music shop and find out a lot by just trying out gear. I've got my YouTube playlist, which is bass gear reviews. So I've reviewed different basses, amps. There's some stuff I did recently about strings, about flat wound strings and P basses. So check that out. That's on the playlist of my channel. And also in the course, Zero to Hero, I go over gear, how to set up your amp, that kind of thing. But I'll talk about that later on in the session. So general bass playing, I'll split up into 4 areas. I think they're as important as each other. So you need to sort of incorporate all of these aspects, these 4 aspects: technique, fretboard knowledge, general musicianship, how to create and improvise. Okay, so they're all as important as each other. So all these foundational skills can be learned. You should give a little bit of time to all of them, not necessarily in every practice session, but I'm going to show you how you can use them all, how you just working on a simple bass line. practicing the same bass line day in, day out won't make you a better bass player. I mean, I think it's human nature. We kind of have good intentions about what we're going to practice, and then we go in the practice room, end up jamming the same bass line over and over again. We're probably all guilty of that. But just playing bass lines, that should be part of your practice session, learning bass lines, playing them. But just doing that, you're not really going to progress past a point. So you need to kind of have some structured ideas of what you're going to do in your practice session. So now I'm just going to show you an example of how this all works. I'm going to use a tune called Love Until I Die. That's by 10 Years After. This is from the 60s. It's a British band. Those of you that got my Birth of British Blues course, you'll notice this tune was in there. But I'm going to show you a slightly different thing with it now. So I'm going to play you the backing track I created with some mates. It's quite a short version of it. Listen to this track and then just jot down or make a note of anything that you notice about the style, okay, and the chord progression, that kind of thing. So just listen to the tune. There's no bass in it. I've left the bass out purposely because we're going to sort of create a bass line. Just have a listen and think, you know, what would you play, or, you know, what's the kind of style, that kind of thing.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, so that was the backing track I created for the course. So it's a kind of our version of that song. That's Will Wild on harmonica, British player, and Nick Kendall on guitar. So actually I played, that was Kendall Connection, the band I'm in. That was one of our tracks that I played at the beginning in the intro, that hopefully you could hear that. So yeah, but this is what I, obviously I know the tune, but what I originally noted about the tune would be that it's a 12-bar blues. That's the first thing I'd probably pick up about it. It's a straight feel blues. By that I mean you just kind of playing straight eighth notes. That kind of feel instead of the shuffle feel. So it's a straight feel blues. So that will give you some ideas straight away about what type of bass line you're going to play. And also it's a real upbeat drum pattern. It's quite a lively tune. So I put those observations down myself. You might have different ones. That's fine. But hopefully you got the 12-bar blues. That's quite important if you're working out what the chord progression is, because you want to be kind of listening to these things if no one tells you what's going on with the tune, okay? So first of all, and this is part of ear training, just find the key, okay? So it's normally going to be the first chord. So I'll just briefly play a tiny bit of it, just see if you've got your bass there, see if you can work out what the key is.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, so hopefully you got that. I know what it is anyway, but it's C. Okay, so that's just find generally it's the first chord. Just have a play through and just find the key. That's the first thing you need to do if you're going to create a bass line. Okay, so it's in C, all right, and then you want to work out the progression. Now, a lot of you would have worked out it's a 12-bar blues. If you listen to a lot of blues, you can kind of hear that, but it might be a different progression. So from your harmony and scale knowledge and theory knowledge, you'll know that a 12-bar blues has got chord 1, chord 4, and chord 5 in it. Okay, so we start on C. Okay, and to find chord 4 and 5, we just do the major scale: 1, 2, 3, 4, F, 5, G. Okay, so that gives us our 3 chords. Okay, so we've got C, F, and G. Okay, so already we're building up a bit of knowledge about the tune. There's just a note there. Our neighbour Rick Lee is the 10 years after drummer. Someone just put in the comments. Great. Okay, so the 12-bar blues in C, this is the format. Okay, you can do it in Roman numerals. So chord 1, chord 4, chord 1, chord 1, chord 4, chord 4, chord 1, chord 1, chord 5, chord 4, chord 1, chord 5. Okay, so that's a basic 12-bar blues. So you know the key, then you can work out what the progression is. Okay. So it's a straight fill blues, as I said. So we need to play straight eighth notes. Okay, you can pick that up from the drum beat. All right, if you're not sure, try eighth notes, and then try shuffle eighth notes. Okay, and see what you think works. It will be pretty obvious. Okay, and what are the drums doing? What beat are they doing? That's going to give you an idea what to play for the bass line. That comes down to ear training. And then what do we play? Okay. We can do loads of things here, okay? Especially if we don't know the original bass line, we can just come up with something ourselves. So this is the important part, creating bass lines and improvising. So, as we know, it's called 1, 4, 5, C, F, G. These are our basic root notes, okay? If we want to do a simple bass line, we're just going to play down the lower part of the bass. We've got C, F, and G. And also we can play the F and G lower, okay? C, F, and G. Okay, I'm just going to expand here to a rectangle one. Okay, so yeah, C, F, and G, and then C, F, G. Okay, so we've got some options there. That's just the lower part of the bass. Of course, we can play over the whole bass, but we'll just do that for the time being. Okay, so you plug these notes into the progression. So you can see from the progression, we're just going to play the root notes. We've got all our options there, okay? So I'm going to play with the backing track. So I'm just going to play straight eighth notes, okay? I'm going to vary where I play the Fs and the Gs. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that sounds pretty good actually, just with the root notes. You can see that would work, okay? If you're playing that at jam night and just play those root notes, it'd be great, okay? So that's you can play around with that. You just play a varying where you're playing the Fs and the Gs and just playing the C here, okay? So that's a very basic bass line that you can do with this tune. Now to develop the bass line, if you've got a knowledge of scales, you'll know that the minor pentatonic scale works over any chord, a major or a minor chord. Okay, the minor pentatonic scale is quite a useful scale to use. If it's the major pentatonic, you've got to be a little bit more careful. Generally, that's not going to work over a minor chord, but the minor pentatonic works. So if it's a C7, the C minor pentatonic scale will work. Okay, so this is our scale here. Okay, so we've got those notes as an option to make a riff up. Something like that. So I'm just using C, B flat, sorry, C, and then G and B flat, okay? So that's a riff that you can create just straight out of that pentatonic scale. Now on a blues, you'd want to use that. You'd want to change the scale. So when it's an F7, just use the F minor pentatonic scale. You're just moving the riff down. Okay, once you get that riff, it's that shape there, okay? For G. Okay, so you've got that shape. I know I'm going through this quite quickly. I just want to sort of demonstrate as much as I can. But you can re-watch this and work those out slowly if you're struggling with that. Okay, so you've got that riff that you can use over C, F and G. So I'll just play that again, this basic backing track, and do that riff. Okay,
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, so you've got a second idea there straight away out of the minor pentatonic scale. Okay, so first of all, we just played eighth notes, and then now we played the riff. Okay, so that's also, if you're playing a blues, if things change with different solos, you get sort of high intensity areas of the tune. You get the kind of where the intensity drops down. You can vary what you play there. You can vary the riffs. You can keep it very basic in places. So you want to have options, okay? You can just add one note to that minor pentatonic and you've got the blues scale. Okay, that G flat, that's a flat fifth, that's a blues note there. Okay, you can do a riff like that. So I'm using those first 5 notes of the blues scale, 2 notes on each, and then G flat and G. Okay, so I'll just play a little bit of that. We've got that riff there. We can do that with a backing track.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, so that's another idea. And by the way, when people say the blues scale, they often just shorten it. That will always be the minor blues scale. There is a major blues scale, which is based off the pentatonic. So that's the major pentatonic, and this is the major blues scale. Okay, so if someone just says the blues scale, they'll always mean the minor blues scale. It's more useful, again, like the minor pentatonic. You can just use it over major or minor chords. So that's a third option. All right, so we've got straight eighth notes. We've got the first riff on the pentatonic, and now we've got this blues scale shape. Okay, so 3 options there. You can start to put some walk-ups in here. So walk-ups are just chromatic notes. These are notes outside of the scale. We can go from F back up to C, for example. So that's an F, open A, B flat, B, C. Okay, that's a way to get back from F to C. You can go from C to G, okay, and then you go from C to F. All you're doing is you're just playing 3 frets below the note that you're going to. Okay, so say you're going from C to G, you're just going. Okay, so I'm going to do a chorus and I'm going to put in a few walk-ups. Okay,
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, then you can really start to mess around with the bass line. You can get away from set patterns. You can just put, the idea is having loads of options, okay, and you build that up through knowledge of the theory of different fretboard patterns. And this is just, I think I played exclusively below the 5th fret, okay, so you've got the rest of the fretboard. But you want to do it in stages if you're a beginner. Just, a couple of those ideas, putting those in are great to start with. If you're a more advanced player, then try out some of the more advanced patterns. Then we've got the original bass line, okay, from the tune, which I've stayed away with from so far, but it's here. Okay, so we just got this kind of minor pattern here. And then that's the flat 7, that's the octave. And we just change that to each chord. Got a little slide off there. Now you've got options. You can play this C pattern starting on C here on the 3rd fret of the A string, or you can start on the 8th fret of the E string. So it's a bit harder to play it there, but then you don't have to jump up to F. You can play it all here. And then G would be here. Now it is quite fast, okay, so playing that original bass line's a bit of a challenge, but I'll play it through. I'm going to play it all that end of the bass. I'll just play it through so you can hear how it goes.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So it is quite a challenging bass line, that one. As I said, you can play it here and jump, but it doesn't stop. It's just a continuous bass line. So that's it's quite a challenge. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the actual the backing track I played you first of all. 3 choruses. I'm just going to mess around. I'm going to use the original bass line first of all, and then I'm just going to sort of freestyle. Okay, so just have a listen to that.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay,
3, 4.
so that's the other one starting. Okay, so that was me kind of trying to put in all the ideas that I've shown you. Okay, so if you did this every week, if you just picked a tune, there's lots of apps you can get now, like Moises, where you can remove the bass line. So what I suggest that you do, just get a tune that you don't know the bass line very well for, and then just remove the bass line and work on the tune this way. Try different ideas. And then see what you can come up with. Try and put some variety in there. Use your ear training. Work out what the key is first of all, the progression, and then try and be stylistic as well. So the ideas I put in here work quite well for a blues tune. You might have a rock tune. Try and kind of put something that works in that style. Okay. So there's a lot of foundational skills that just go into that. So I'm not expecting all of you to be there at that level. It's just to kind of illustrate the types of skills that you use and how you use them, okay? And how to do something a bit different than just playing the original bass line. But if you want to be really truly creative with music, and I think we all do want to be, then you need to put a lot of those skills into it. And developing these skills will lead to you being an in-demand bass player, for sure, okay? People want you in their band. They want you to play at jam nights. They want a player with some creativity. And I've seen some interesting stuff recently about I can't remember who it was, but someone chatting and saying that bass is probably the easiest instrument to pick up, but the hardest to be good at. And I think that's true. You know, it's quite easy just to pick up the bass if you're a beginner, and just play some G's and C's and stuff like that. But really to truly kind of be creative on the bass takes quite a lot of skill, actually. And yeah, it's, you know, a lot of the time you're playing and people don't really notice you're there, which is fine. But they'll notice when you're not there. But sometimes it's nice to put a bit of creativity in, and a bit of flair in, and then, you know, people want you to play with them, definitely. So that's the end of that part there. I hope you enjoyed it. It was just a kind of quick snapshot into foundational skills. I hope you enjoyed it. Okay, I'm now going to move on to part 2. This is the unboxing of Zero to Hero. So this is a brand new course. Okay, just switch that off. So it's a complete foundation course for bass players. I realised when people get asking me that I didn't really have anything for beginners. I've got a lot of courses. I've got a kind of beginner blues course, Walk the Blues, but you need to be a certain standard really to take that course. So I've been creating this course for the last 6 months. So it's a step-by-step bass beginner course. It's got 48 bite-sized video lessons, easy to follow and self-paced lessons. And when you buy the course, like all my courses, you get lifetime access to the course, so you can work through it at your own pace, and keep returning to videos, watch them, make sure that you understand them. And for this course, you don't need any previous playing experience. You don't need to be able to read music. You don't need to know any music theory. I explain everything you need in the course. I don't try to do too much theory. I try to get people playing, but as we've seen in that first part, it's important to start learning the theory, the musicianship, all these elements for your playing. So who is Zero to Hero for? It's for beginner bass players. It's for players returning to the bass after a long break. I know that a lot of you told me you've retired and you played the bass when you were a teenager. You've picked it back up again. You might have forgotten most of the stuff. And also, it's for players who've been playing for a while but just feel that they just haven't got anywhere. You know, they're still missing big gaps in the foundation of their playing. So it's for those players as well. But just want to say, the course is probably too easy for you if you can play covers well, improvise your own bass lines, and if you can already play with other musicians. So I know, you know, just seeing it from the chat, there's some of you players in there who are good players, and the course would be too basic for you, definitely. So I wouldn't be offended if anyone wants to clock off now, if you are a sort of more advanced player. But you could, by all means, carry on joining me for this. But that's fine if you enjoyed the first part and you just feel it's not for you, then don't worry about leaving the session. So that should give you an idea of who the course is for. But there is an important question: what is a beginner player? I've stayed away from beginner's course in a way. I've called it a foundation course because, you know, you've got beginner, maybe absolute beginner, intermediate, high intermediate, advanced, professional. You've got all these categories, and they kind of cross over. Everyone's got a different idea of what they are, okay? And they're useful sometimes if you're taking a course or you're getting a book to kind of roughly know where you are, but they're a bit meaningless, these kind of terms. So really, hopefully I've kind of outlined who I think it's appropriate for. But if you're wondering, then just email me, or, you know, just get in touch with me, and I can kind of hopefully help you a bit more with working out whether it's appropriate for you. So there we are. So now I'm going to give you a quick look at what's in the course. I've just done a little pre-record, it's a couple of minutes long. It just shows you what are quickly in all the modules. Okay. The video at the start of the course just explains how to use it. And then we have module 1, which is really for total beginners who've just brought their first bass home. You can skip this first module if you're not a total beginner, but it does talk about setting up your amp and your bass. So if you want to refresh that, then you might want to check this module out. Then module 2, this is where the course starts for everyone, and we focus on different ways to learn the fretboard. Fretboard knowledge is a really integral part of playing bass, so this is an important module.
Module 3 looks at rhythm, which is obviously very important for bass players. Module 4 looks in detail at our pluck in hand, how to get a really nice bass tone and the different techniques you have like slapping, using a pick, fingerstyle, etc. This is a really important module as well. Module 5 looks at our fret in hand and how to set up a good technique that will enable you to play faster and to avoid potential injuries in the future. This module and the last ones in a way are the most important ones in the course. Module 6 gives you a crash course in notation. This module isn't absolutely necessary for everyone. You might not be interested in learning to read music, but even the most basic understanding of notation can help you in a big way with your bass playing. Module 7 covers scales, and these shapes will be what you use for licks and fills and riffs, so they're really important to learn. And by the way, there are exercises in each module, so you don't just learn the techniques and the theory, you learn how to play them and how to incorporate them into real life bass lines. Module 8 is about arpeggios, which really are the building blocks for when you start creating your own bass lines. The notes of the arpeggios are known as cool tones, and they are really important for us bass players. In Module 9, I'll show you some of the more advanced techniques like funky muted notes, hammer-ons and pull-offs. Module 10 is dedicated to playing riffs from different styles like rock, blues, country, soul and Motown, and you'll get to try out all that you've learnt so far in the course with iconic bass riffs. Module 11 is an interesting module where I'll show you how to understand chord progressions and read a chord chart and how to start creating and improvising your own bass lines, a skill that's really useful once you play in a band or you play at your first jam night. Module 12 is a bonus module where I'll look in detail at gear choices, which are important to your overall sound. Players can get a bit obsessed with gear, but it's important to know the basics about your instrument, strings, amps and pedals.
Okay, hopefully that helped to give you an idea of what's in the course. If you look below this video, this YouTube video, you can download the course curriculum on a PDF so that you can have a good look at that, okay? But really it includes all the aspects that you need to start playing bass and really to kind of give you a strong foundation, okay? I've just seen someone in the comments said their friend plays bass solos while sitting Indian style at the end of an Indian all-you-can-eat buffet in Texas. It's a bit too far for me to go to, but that sounds like fun. Okay, so all the foundations, all the foundational aspects we looked at the beginning of this session are in the course. Okay, these kind of 6 areas, they're all in there. Each lesson is easy to understand and generally focuses on a single concept. When I first started making bass courses, I looked around, researched, and I found courses that were 40, 50 hours long, and I just decided not to do that. I think it's important to have a course that you can finish, and so I spend a lot of effort and time condensing ideas into the lessons so you can get the most bang for buck out of it, and you don't have to, rather than a 20-minute lesson, I'll try and put it into 5, 6, 7 minutes and focus on a single concept so it's easy to understand what you're trying to learn from that lesson. You can work through the course at your own pace, so I don't set a time limit. People work at different paces. I don't say you're going to finish this in a month or, it's just entirely up to you. You might want to focus on one module for a while. You might quickly go through it. The first module is there for total beginners. So if you're not a total beginner, then you can skip that first module. Okay. You've got lifetime access to the course, so the idea is you buy the course. With this course you get all the whole course as soon as you enroll. Some of our boot camps I kind of drip feed it, but this you get the whole course. You've got it for life. You can keep going back to sections from it. You've got all the PDFs underneath there as well. So the course cost is $197. That's approximately £160. You can pay in any currency at the cart page, so it just works it out wherever you are in the world. But I have to pick one currency, so I picked US dollars. Yeah, that's US dollars, by the way. Just because I've got to pick one, that kind of is more universal. So just to put it in context, a couple of private lessons with me are now $200. But the whole course is $197, so it's just fractionally cheaper. but it contains over 7 hours of condensed content that would take me, I reckon, 20 hours to teach it to you. So it's pretty good value. I know $197 is a lot to some of you. I've tried to keep the courses the same, but since we came out of lockdown, really keep the prices the same. But yeah, it's been a course that I've kind of been working on for 6 months. So there's a lot in there to get through. Bitcoin, yeah. I'll have to start doing Bitcoin. Someone put in the comments. So payment plans, you can pay a one-off payment, or over 2 months, 2 payments over 3 months. You can do that as well. So you can, if you prefer, you can kind of break down the costs over a few months. Also, I'll get rid of me so you can see this properly. I'm doing a special launch bonus deal. So this is only available until Wednesday. That's next Wednesday at midnight. So the first bonus is a beginner's masterclass. I'm going to hold that on the 1st of December. So it'll be similar kind of to this. You'll be able to watch replay, but I'll be charging for that, but you'll get a free place. So I'm going to go over lots of aspects that I think will help with you once you've been in the course for a little while. Okay. The second bonus is that workshop I talked about earlier. That's a workshop I'll charge for, but you'll get a free place at that as well. So that's on the 19th of January. So that will be really useful. You'll have probably had a good look at the course by then, and you can work out, I can show you how to incorporate that into a really good practice session. And bonus 3, you can enter a draw for 2 free lessons with me. So they're one-to-one lessons on Zoom. You don't have to be any standard to take these lessons. We can work on whatever you want to. Come along and we'll chat and I'll work out how to, we'll work out together how to get the most out of those sessions. So they're just held on Zoom. I'll hold that draw at the beginner masterclass on the 1st of December at the end. So you'll all go into the hat for that. So yeah, they're the special launch bonuses. So as I said, if you get them before Wednesday, then all those 3 bonuses will be thrown in as well. And also, all my courses, I have them covered by a 14-day money-back guarantee, because I don't want anyone to take a risk. Sometimes it's tricky, especially with a course like this. People just don't know the level or their standard, or maybe it's a bit easier for a beginner's course, but I know my blues courses, sometimes it's just impossible to work out whether, if I haven't seen the person play, whether they're the right standard to go in for the course. I try to make it clear, but if you get in and you just think, oh, I'm out of my depth here, or this beginner's course is just a bit too easy for me, then I'll value that. Just let me know within 14 days, get all your money back. So yeah, it's risk free. So now you can find out more about the course. There's a whole page explaining it. There's a video. If you look below this YouTube video, it should be on there now, the link. I'll put it in the chat in a minute. You can find out more and find out how to enroll. So that's it for that part there. So I'll have a look through the comments now. But put any questions you've got at all here about bass playing, practicing, about the course here. Put them in the comments now. As I said, there's a bit of a delay, but I'll start going through them, having a little look. If you think of anything after this session, then probably best to email me at info@gbssshed.com. You can go on the website, gbssshed.com, and get in touch via the contacts page if you need to. But please ask me if you look more in detail at the course and you're just not sure, then ask me. I'll try and give you as much help as possible with that. So I'll just have a look through and see if there's any questions. Give me a minute or two. I'll look from the beginning of the comments. So yeah, hopefully I managed to recover from that false start. I've seen everyone. Thanks for letting me know. I didn't see that first. No sound. But yeah, hopefully you got everything from when I started again. Okay, let's have a look through. Yeah, it's great to see so many people from so many different countries here. It's brilliant. Hi from sunny Somerset, Malcolm. Hi, Malcolm. Probably not so sunny at the moment. It's not here anyway. Chris, I've got a lot of work to do. Tom, thanks. You like how I set the courses up. Hi Lauren from England, you got there. Oh, Chris was saying now he's got 5 strings to deal with. Yeah, that's another area. I talked briefly about 5 strings in the course, but I'm thinking about doing a specific workshop for players that want to move from 4 string to 5 string. So watch this space for that. Now there. So Durban, listen to this band, practice your bass for a minimum of 10 minutes a day. Yeah. So Frank asked the question, do you have any advice? I'll see if I can put that on the screen actually. I think there's a way of showing the comments on the screen. I did that before by accident. Let's just try it. But anyway, Frank said, do you have... Oh, here we go. Does that come up there? 1 minute. Just bear with me for a minute. Okay. Sorry. Just trying to... Here we go. So, Frank, do you have any advice on how to deal with a friend who plays bass and has been missing the exact same notes in the same song he's been playing for 15 years? Yeah, you need to tell him to learn, go away and learn the bass line properly. Hopefully that's a bit of a jokey question. But yeah, he's probably not, he just probably doesn't know those that part of the bass line, so he's got to go and learn it. So here's another question here. I may have missed the info. How much do you charge for a discovery interview as a self-taught? For discovery, I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that, or maybe you just want a one-off lesson, or but if TK, just get in touch by email. Just ask me what you mean by that. I'll let you know. Here we go here. Nice recovery, Greg. Best exercise to get the flying fingers to go away. So I did actually do a lesson on flying pinky. If someone can find that easily, you can put it in the chat. So I recommend scale type. I don't recommend doing a lot of scale and chromatic exercises, but I recommend those for kind of sorting your technique out. Okay, just major scale exercises. Okay, let's put me above there. Okay, just the best exercise I think is just start on any fret. I'm starting on the G string, 1, 4, 2, 3. I'm obviously playing it fast, but those kind of exercises. So I've got a load about that in the course. They're the ones that are going to fix your fingers. Okay, just using 1 finger per fret for the exercises. You don't always have to use 1 finger per fret, but they're the ones that I would that I'd recommend. Underneath Mel said, I've seen a few articles, vids on spending time on scales and chord tones. So that's a really interesting question. So that kind of follows on. Mel said, would you recommend spending more time on chord tones than scales? Now, chord tones come from arpeggios, and I would recommend spending more time on those. For bass players, the most important scales are the minor blues scale and the pentatonic scales. So I don't recommend running loads of major and minor scales. There's no point really. You get a lot of theory out of those, which is great, and great for technique practice. But really, your chord tones, those kind of arpeggio shapes, are the ones that you're more likely to use. Okay, when you're constructing bass lines, you're going to use scales when you're doing licks, that kind of thing. But I know that guitarists are obsessed with scales and modes because they solo all the time. But for bass players, I'd spend more time on outlining the chord with the chord shapes and the chord tones. Chris, another one, really struggling with the 5-string technique. I'm definitely going to do some sort of masterclass on that. Hi from Stratford, hi there. And two octave scales. So I've put some 2 octave scales and arpeggios in the course because they help a lot. Working out fingering patterns, that kind of thing. There's Frank. Thanks for his advice. He's going to give his friend a hard time about learning those notes. There we are. So I'll put that in there. Okay. All bass players go to heaven. He's going to enjoy my comments apparently. So here we go. Lauren, I struggle to hit each note on the fretboard consistently and in time. Okay, let's see if I can put that up here. Struggle to hit each note on the fretboard consistently in time, and when it's more than about 5 notes. It's a speed. Yeah, that's very, very common, first of all, because you're just gradually learning technique. So first of all, your fingers don't do what your brain tells them to do. So you just have to allow a little bit of time for that. I don't know how long you've been playing, but it takes different people different amount of time. But first, that's the main issue, is a connection between what you want to play and what your fingers are doing. Often there's a different thing going on. Try and put that there. Okay, so yeah, you just you have to allow a bit of time for that. Again, I suggest playing slow to play fast. Okay, so if you're finding that at a certain speed you're missing notes, and you know what they are, but you're just not being able to kind of execute that, then slow down, go really slow, play these notes very slowly, and then gradually speeding up again. You might find that actually at a really slow speed, you can't play these notes, so you're never going to be able to play them fast. Okay, so make sure that you slow things down first of all, and ultimately, as you're learning, there's really a top speed that you're going to be able to play at, and you just have to allow a bit of time for that speed to develop, to get faster and faster. Okay. Here we are. So Mel, do you have a course that helps with arpeggios up and down the fretboard? No, I'm going to do. I think a lot of people, when I put the survey out, ticked to do a string and arpeggio bootcamp. So I'm going to try to. I'm going to try and think about a useful course to kind of, not just. I have an element of it where we're running the scales and arpeggios, but how to put that to good use. So I think that would make a good course in the future. For those of you that have been getting the regular emails after this course is launched, now it's taken me. I've been working on it for about 6 months. I'm going to be launching a membership. Okay, so a monthly membership. A main focus of that is going to be a lot of live sessions in the membership. So these kind of sort of sessions here, I might put those into the membership, just how to run scales, how to do arpeggios. It's going to be a different focus each month. Okay, so that's kind of thing that I could start to incorporate into the membership. I used to beat myself. I used to beat up my hand when it didn't listen, didn't help, it made me feel better. Yeah. So here we go. Here, there's Mickey. So I think a lot of it is finding positions and yeah. So each person has a different kind of a preference for different riffs. Sometimes if you're playing something that's not working, have a look at what you're doing. You might find another position that's better. You could use an open note, for example. You might want to look at your plucking hand. You might want to do a rake where you play a couple of notes. You kind of play down. Let's do it here, where you can see it there. You play the same note going down. You change alternate plucking, but you might start with your second finger. There's lots of different things to try, and over time you work out what works best for you. So everyone's a little bit different. Everyone's really unique in the way they play things. There's standard things that work well, but also you've got to work out with experience what works for you. So Lauren said I've played for several months. Yeah, so just give yourself a bit more time than that, with lots of breaks and inconsistencies. So what I'd recommend for that is just I know it's hard, but just short. If you're not going to be able to practice all week, if you can just pick the bass up for 5 minutes per day, if you don't even have to have it plugged in. If you can just run some exercises just to keep on it, that will help a lot. Okay, so you're just it's a new skill, and you're developing the neurons with that in your brain to be able to work your fingers at that speed. So yeah, So just go easy on yourself with that. So Mel sounds good. So TK here. I'm trying to study on my own Jacko, but I struggle to find a nice course. Do you have one? And then things such as an exercise. So I'm assuming, do you mean, do I have a course, a sort of Jacko type course, which I haven't. But I remember. Well, actually, when I was 14, I was playing. My mate gave me a weather report cassette that he'd nicked from his dad collection. So I was listening to Jacko then when I was completely blown away. I didn't understand any of it. And then I did when I really kind of started heavily practicing, even though I wasn't that into jazz and fusion, I did just learn a lot of Jacko from books and things. So I did kind of do that for a stint. But it might be good to do a course on that. Yeah, Mel said what I love most. I'll publish that one because that's what I love most about your lessons is that you give options to use in a song rather than learn everything note for note. So some bass lines, for some gigs I have to learn stuff note for note, but a lot of the time people don't want that. So it's great if you can put your own kind of thing into it. Sorry, they just had a bit of a coughing fit. Got a bit of a cough at the moment. It behaved itself, lucky for the session. So this is Tom. I created a riff using a scale in a note, then learnt the riff on every place. Yeah, that's a good idea. So you just want to set yourself exercises for getting around the fretboards. So that's really good, kind of discovering the fretboard that way. Oh, really important question here. Does it really matter if you don't use the 4 fret stretch? So what Chris is referring to is 1 finger per fret. And it doesn't matter at all if you don't use that. So some exercises and bass lines you need to use it. But plenty of times I kind of do 4 fingers over 3 frets for octaves and for fifths. Okay, let's get me up here. So if you're on C, playing the octave, always use your little finger for that. You don't want to use 1 and 3. You can feel that stretch there on the tendon, okay? So just use 1 and 4. And the same as the fifth, okay? C, G. Okay, in some situations you might use your 3rd finger, but mostly use your little finger, okay? So a lot of people below the 5th fret, they'll use, they won't use 1 finger per fret. It doesn't matter actually. It's just some riffs and licks do require you to, it's better if you do 1 finger per fret. But it doesn't matter at all, especially if you've got small hands, if you just bunch your hand up a bit more. It's TK here. Beginners and everyone, I use a tempo app. Yeah, speeds up, slows down. Yeah, it's great. It's great to, especially to start slow with your practice. Really, really good. Just don't, if you're struggling with something, slow it right down. It seems obvious, but a lot of people don't do it. And then gradually speed it up. So it's really good if you've got an app or a metronome that can help you with that. So here's Travis. Hi, Travis. As Travis said, hi, it's time for me to head out the door. Please hit the like button. Yeah, excellent, Travis. Thanks for joining me. And have a good weekend. So I think that's kind of most of the questions asked. I found your Monday. Oh yeah, here we go. Another one from Mickey. Yeah, it said, I find your Monday playthroughs really helpful in working things out and being able to show a little area down until I get it nailed down. Yeah, so I started doing, when I started playing to the original track, taking the bass out when it was easier, there's an app called Moises. I didn't really want to put that in the main lesson because sometimes you get copyright strikes and your video gets banned. So I didn't want the whole lesson banned. So I make the lesson, and then I decided to release the playthrough a few days later, and then someone made a point that they can learn the bass line and then see how I play it. So it kind of works out with quite a good system. And then if occasionally, like the Eagles even if I say the word Eagles, I'll probably get this video blocked. Everything gets taken down, so I only lose the playthrough video. So that's why I do that. But I'm glad you kind of you like that system. How's TK again? Oh, with the app. So yeah, start very slow at 50 beats per minute. Yeah, great advice. I'm up to 300. Yeah, okay. So yeah, you just got to be careful. Don't play for ages. If you're a beginner, don't play for ages. You're just going to end up damaging your hand. Keep things nice and relaxed. Particularly beginners, you're going to be. It's going to be. You're probably going to be playing tight and tense. So you want to work on being relaxed at a slow tempo, and then try and be relaxed as you speed it up. Okay, if you're playing really tense, just not going to work long term. This is Tom. I was happy to hit 120 BPM. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to sign off here. I'm going to make this available for catch up, and I'll just keep this. I'll sort of clock off, but I'll keep it running. If you've got any more comments, I'll answer them. But any other questions, just ask me. As one's popped in here from Chris actually. What's the best muting technique on a 5-string? It's throwing me off when I'm not. Yeah, so actually on a 5-string, one thing that you've definitely got to do is keep your thumb on your B string when you're not using it. Okay, and it seems obvious, but when you move your thumb to the E string, have the edge of your thumb here muting the B string. So you kind of keep it going across. Rather than just, if you're on the E string and you've got the B string open underneath, it's going to just ring out. So use the kind of the knuckle of your thumb to mute the B string at the same time. That you've got to do that. And then you do mute a lot more with your left hand as well. So just finger muting, it's kind of a double whammy really, just having fingers from this hand, but your thumb on the B string is kind of the most efficient way to do it. Okay, I'll keep watching the chat anyway, and here we are. Just switch this off, wherever that is. Okay, and yeah, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you around the shed soon.